For this storytelling project, we were assigned to reflect on what we have learned and experienced during these 3 months in Costa Rica. When I meditate on those topics, I realize how Costa Rica has had an important role of transition on me. As opposed to most students in the NUin group, I was not looking forward to Costa Rica and embarked into this adventure reluctantly. My mother attended college in the United States and always insisted on the fact that U.S. college education would be a great fit for me. But during my senior year of high school, my college applications were done half-heartedly, and as the months went by, I dreaded more and more having to leave Europe along with everything I knew and everyone I loved. I turned a blind eye on having to start a new life in the States, and I was confused and unenthusiastic about what I would be doing in Costa Rica for 3 months. Beginning Northeastern with the NUin program has given me the opportunity to face reality and condition myself to the drastic lifestyle change I was going to have to adapt to by going to college overseas. I think NUin has truly been beneficial to me because starting college in a small group and with a manageable workload was certainly an easier transition than directly landing in the huge campus of Northeastern and being completely lost and disoriented. I am grateful because my semester abroad has given me the time to mentally transition between my old life and my new life, and I will leave Costa Rica enthusiastic and prepared for Boston. At our orientation 3 months ago, as well as in my culture class, we have discussed the process of culture shock that you are likely to experience when spending an extended period of time in a foreign country. We studied the W curve of culture shock, which incorporates the ups and downs and different emotions that you are likely to experience over time and during your adaptation to all the differences this new country has to offer. Most students on this trip probably did at one point or another familiarize with the feeling of culture shock and confusion as to how to deal with a change in environment. But some felt it more than others. My point that I would like to express in this video is how I have experienced a double culture shock here in Costa Rica. To me, the culture shock of being in a group with a large majority of students from the United States was almost stronger than the culture shock of living in Costa Rica. Although I am half American, I have always lived in Europe and had French-speaking friends. What I felt among our NUin group was not so much of a language barrier, but more of a difficulty to relate. These new interactions made me realize a lot about my cultural identity, and made me notice how much more prominent my French nationality was in who I am. The first couple of weeks, I was constantly observing the behaviors, habits, and ways of communicating of my fellow NUin students, which were so different from those of my friends in Europe. In addition to my observation, it took me some time to understand their sense of humor, and I hardly knew any of the foods, stores, or TV shows they referenced in conversations. In my opinion, you only experience a true culture shock when you are constantly surrounded by people from a foreign culture. And during my time in Costa Rica, I have spent much more time interacting with Americans than with Costa Ricans. Of course, I have acquired a sense of Costa Rican identity by living in a host family and by traveling around the country on weekends. But the difference is that I experienced it as an observer, while in the NUin group, I had to actively make an effort to adapt to different cultural norms. In addition to my culture shock among US Americans having been stronger, I noticed a significant influence of US culture in Costa Rica in general. Even in European countries, US culture is not half as present as it is in Costa Rica. I was shocked to see only Hollywood movies playing at the cinema and American fast food chains at every street corner in San Jose. Living in a host family is not always the most convenient option, but it has definitely been an experience. I believe some host families just do their job, and in other houses they do their best to make you become part of the family for 3 months. My host parents have taken care of me perfectly well, but we have never created very personal ties, and the communication is rather limited because there are very little family activities I can partake in. Although not as comfortable and not as much company as at home, living here has taught me how to use my inner resources. Before Costa Rica, I'd never traveled to either Central or South America, and to be honest, I found this part of the world very appealing but knew very little about it. I am grateful to go home in 2 weeks feeling like I have gained awareness on Latin America. During our global experience class, we have learned a lot in a short amount of time about various aspects of Latin America, including politics, racial issues, and U.S. involvement in Latin American countries. I also took an amazing film class during this semester, in which I was lucky to watch movies from multiple Latin American countries such as Chile, Bolivia, Brazil, and Mexico. Through these films, I learned about social issues in Latin America, and I got a visual idea of the richness of these cultures. I am glad these different classes have been part of my experience here, as they have helped me to develop my global perspective and have given me the desire to travel all through Central and South America. Last but not least, every Friday morning here in Costa Rica, I have been volunteering at Centro Diva, an organization which works with disabled people. I have worked with them before, but ever since my best friend got into an accident last February, my approach to people with disabilities has changed completely. I have become a lot more sensible and tolerant, and I tried very hard to make my time at Centro Diva worth it and bring a little happiness into these people's lives every Friday morning. Most of the members of Centro Diva cannot speak, but with them I have learned that communication goes way beyond words, and what I have also learned is that the best gesture one can do is to look over their handicap and to focus and adapt to their abilities.
You're just unhappy.